All right, so before we get into it, I just got to put on these saline nasal mist because apparently we got a hater here who I'm going to do a video on who says, audibly fat, fuck you, bro. I got problems. So, hold on. Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay. So, all right. So, I was going to do a video. I was going to make a video on the, what is it? The Young Miles. What's this guy? You Know Miles. Okay, I was going to make a video on this You Know Miles guy because his lyrics are so fucking funny. And I found a video of someone talking trash about him on TikTok, and then he responded by just making a diss track on him. I can't find the video on TikTok, but I'll worry about that later. Instead, what happened today was that there was this clip that went out from, I guess, Tommy Innit, Minecraft YouTuber, and they were doing a lie detector test with Jacksepticeye. Now, this is a guy who does Let's Plays, YouTube veteran, one of the old timers, one of the legends of all time. And, you know, I never really watched him personally in that area. Like, I used to be more towards the Vanoss crew type of thing. Like, that's who I used to watch when it came to gameplay. So people like him, like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier. PewDiePie is probably the one I watched out of those three, but honestly, Vanoss and the Vanoss crew is who I watched for those types of things. They did a lie detector test, and then at one point of it, Tommy Innit this is a Minecraft YouTuber, decides to switch it up on him and ask Jacksepticeye just an out of the blue question, which was, do you like Mr. Beast? And I'm going to play a clip right here.
Now, Jack, a completely unrelated question. Do you like Mr. Beast?
No.
Jack, do you think Mr. Beast ruined YouTube?
Yes.
Now, in all honesty, Jack, why?
Because it became more about views, money, and popularity than it did about having fun.
You just don't think you had fun playing Squid Games? You don't think you had fun riding on yachts? Building wells in Africa? I don't know.
If he had fun doing those videos, they'd be longer. We'd see the fun.
Ooh.
I thought you were going to get me with that one, didn't you?
Who's the YouTuber you hate the most?
I don't know. There's a lot of groomers and pedophiles on our platform.
And then you can see, right after this clip was on Twitter, a bunch of people started coming out and like it created an Insta battle, Insta mini war with their opinions. Some people were defending Mr. Beast, some people were defending Jacksepticeye. In my opinion, just from the start, like it looked like it was as close to half and half on opinion that I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen people get it this close to where it's nearly 50-50. I think this is the most 50-50 of any online drama that I've ever seen. But regardless, I thought Jacksepticeye's opinions on Mr. Beast, whether or not he meant them as sincerely or as part of the joke for the video, I think that there is something to say about the Mr. Beastification of the platform that has kind of changed the name of the game, or at least allowed people to make more grander videos on YouTube that rival anything else out there in mainstream media today. Did he ruin the platform? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think there's much more horrible people who have done worse things for the platform. And you know me, listen, you got to be able to talk about shit. I'm a guy that supports like people being able to have discussions and being able to talk about things. You know, if you want to be an idiot online, sure, you should be allowed to do that. That way we can have more content. And at the same time, I think that Mr. Beast came off a little bit insecure. But I mean, come on, this is a guy who runs freaking multiple channels. He has his own chocolate company. At one point, he was working to do the Beast Burgers thing. The guy made a recreation of Squid Games, okay? He's given hundreds of thousands of dollars in prizes. He's given away games, PlayStations, TVs to people. He's given food and charity. He's literally done charity and undone charity in other parts of the world, okay? Not just in America. He's planted trees. I mean, if you wanted the most perfect guy in the world, as close as possible, a representation of that, this is as close as you're gonna get. The only thing I kind of found kind of corny was that Mr. Beast responded to, like, got offended at Jacksepticeye, but I can understand that. I mean, I think Mr. Beast is a fan of Jacksepticeye, so it kind of felt like a sting to have him say that. Like I said, Mr. Beast, a little bit immature and a little bit corny in his response, but I mean, hey, with all the good that Mr. Beast does, if you didn't know about the fact that he got offended, or at least sounded offended by what Jacksepticeye said, you would assume he's a literally perfect being who has literally done nothing wrong. And so I think this tweet shows from a standpoint that he is human. You know, he does let at least some people in his area, like some comments from other people in his area, they do get to him, you know. So for me, I mean, I watched Mr. Beast, okay. I keep a lookout for his uploads. Okay, I want to see what the next big thing is. What's the next biggest thing that Mr. Beast is gonna do? You know, the Lamborghini thing. I don't know if it's played out yet. Probably is with the last video where he took a Lamborghini that was decommissioned, and then he freaking smashed it to bits and whatever. But really, what I want to talk about is actually the people in the comment section who thought they had something to say. Unlike me, funny irony, but. Regardless of that, here's the thing. I'm not gonna dick ride Mr. Beast because there are some things about him that I disagree with. Not really necessarily him. You know, I do have my issues with some of the Chris Tyson thing, and I don't watch Jacksepticeye. I'm not really familiar with his content. All I know about him is that he plays video games and he loves it. But here's the thing I'll say about the people in both camps. All right, so for the camp that was like kind of like fuck Mr. Beast, you know, there's always something weird about him. I think that literally this is a camp group of people who have literally nothing to say about him. If you're watching this and you know me, like I've had a couple of conversations about Mr. Beast and what people think about him. And here's the thing: the people who say they don't like Mr. Beast can never give me a reason as to why they don't like him or what example like they found so egregious that it was like, man, fuck Mr. Beast. He uses people for money. I've heard the argument being used that he basically exploits his audience, he exploits his fan base and the people in his videos to basically make money off them. But in my opinion, that's a stupid thing to say. That's an argument that has no merit, it has no weight, because literally in all of his videos, like everyone wins a prize, even if they fail a challenge, right? I've seen people make 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 50,000. Like he gives away money to the fans. If you're saying he's just exploiting them for money, I don't know how much really you can be exploiting people when you're giving them a bunch of money, which in some cases is literally more than some people make in their whole lifetime, all right? If you were in a Mr. Beast video, let's say you were doing a challenge and you failed the challenge, right? And you were only like one segment in Mr. Beast's video. Let's say you did a couple of hours of work at best, right? It was a couple of hours out of one day and you got paid 10 grand. I think any of these losers who are saying that Mr. Beast just exploits people would take that chance, okay? It's just that they're just jealous that they haven't gotten that chance yet. There are some more not concrete, but there are some more understandable criticisms. Like for instance, some people say that his content now is so different than what it used to be now. I guess he's out of touch or he's not as relatable anymore. And I can see where that comment comes from. But when you understand, or when you listen to Mr. Beast talk about his process of what he's literally trying to accomplish, it's almost kind of like not a self-fulfilling prophecy, but basically it's like, well, of course you would come to that conclusion. Like Mr. Beast's plan, his format on how to make the best content on YouTube will eventually lead to a place where you would make that criticism. Because of course, back in the old days, his stuff wasn't as high production. He didn't have the best stuff. He just used what he had and he had fun with it. Now, him saying that how could he do this for 14 plus years if he wasn't having fun? That is a good defense. I don't know how you could do anything for a long time if you weren't having fun. Freaking the longest job I ever had was 4 years, and I fucking hated it. I thought I was there for like ever, you know? Point is, I'm on Mr. Beast's side. Well, I heard some criticisms too, Jacksepticeye. And some of them range from like, oh, well, you're criticizing Mr. Beast, but like your stuff is literally not art. Like your stuff is so easy to make. And then I saw this one picture of this guy holding up two tweets. One of them was about Mr. Beast talking about how he was tired and basically he takes almost no breaks and he's not going to take almost any breaks for the rest of the year to make his content. While Jacksepticeye in his tweet was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Like I love making content. I was like, yeah, those two are different things, right? I don't know. It seems like to me that like there are more people who I feel like don't have a reason. They just want to hate Mr. Beast. They just want to be able to say, like, let's say Jimmy eventually does mess up and he makes an oopsie. He makes a no-no. You know, he says the no-no word. I don't know, whatever, right? People are going to take that, and then, in my opinion, they're going to be like, I knew there was something wrong with him. I just had a feeling. It's like none of these people actually had any shit on him, okay? None of these people know what Mr. Beast was talking about. No one knows what he was doing, all right? Shut the fuck up. You didn't know shit, right? It's weird. It's like the more you try to achieve, the higher your goals are, the more skeptical people are going to be because of the scale, you know? It's like, oh, you think you can plant a bunch of trees? Yeah, keep dreaming, kid. Or, oh, wow, you made a bunch of wells in Africa? Yeah, that's pretty. Or the fact that he made a restaurant and he literally had it for free and he literally fed people. I actually think that, and I think it comes from a place of skepticism too, right? Like some people can be like, oh, you just hear of a guy and the only thing you know about him is he has videos where he has contestants do a bunch of challenges and he gives away money for free. I guess, yeah, naturally you'd be skeptical of the guy. It's like, well, for what reason is he doing it? I have no reason to doubt Mr. Beast when he says he wants to make the best videos possible, all right? He literally shows the proof. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. When you achieve high, you get a lot of doubters. When you don't achieve as high, and not to say that, you know, people who just do gameplay videos aren't working hard, or they aren't trying to entertain people. I mean, what I do right now is just talk shit, but I love it. I don't know. It's just like, I just feel like a lot of people are like, unironically, a lot of people are doing what that Green Goblin clip from Spider-Man 1, where he's like, where the Goblin talks about what people love to see more than a hero is to see a hero fail. The idea being that, yeah, people like seeing, heartwarming videos. They love seeing like feel good content, but what people love to see more is people fail. People love to watch content that revolves around someone else's demise, someone else being an idiot. And I get that. I talk about that. Hence the reason why I'm doing this right now. But I don't know. I think that the people who are engaged in the arguments, they seemed a little bit too ready. Like something about it seems way too, how do I say this? People seem to be so ready for the argument that they threw out so many comments saying it. So I guess like people have already probably made up their mind in one way or another, whether or not they like Mr. Beast or think his content is good or think he's ruining the platform. Excuse me for my rambling, but just to put a point on it, I think that if you think Mr. Beast actually ruined the platform, you're wrong. I think you're an idiot. You're allowed to not like Mr. Beast or his content. What I think is a very dumb thing to do, though, is to judge him as a person as he's a bad person when we literally don't know. Other than some of the documentaries and interviews that he's done on multiple podcasts, it's like we really can't know what's up here in the head or what's down there in the heart. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to like Mr. Beast content. Frankly, Jacksepticeye, I don't watch him at all. Like I said, the closest I would be watching is Vanos Gaming, but that was in the old days, before the drama went through and everything, and sort of the PewDiePie era. But yeah, I don't think you have to be a dick rider for Mr. Beast, but I do think there's such a thing as being a Mr. Beast hater, which honestly I think is kind of worse than being a Mr. Beast dick rider. I mean, the guy has done so much in such a short span of time. I mean, literally he's done what 100 men couldn't do. He's literally provided more aid than freaking some governments. Not to get too political, but the guy has done freaking a lot and multiple lifetimes worth of things. To hate him is kind of being opportunistic, I think. To be like, oh, I don't like him. It's like, yeah, okay, and the grass is green. Like, does anyone care? Really? Like, he does a lot of things. Go take a walk, bud. Go do your own thing, right? Instead of hating on him. I don't know. I just like, it's one of those things where like, yes, is the mean comments gonna affect him in the end? Like, it's gonna hurt him. Apparently, it hasn't stopped him because he just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing the ladder, and doing more and more and more spectacular things. Regardless of whether you think it's just for spectacle, or if it's art, or if it's genuine, or if it's manufactured, what you can't deny is that he has put a lot of work into his art. And for me, in my opinion, it's like seeing a guy who just does good things is like, you're okay to have skepticism about his intentions. But to hate on him for no reason when you don't have anything else to say other than, oh, I think he might have skeletons in his closet, or no one can be this generous. I think he's not being genuine. It's like, okay, it's like whatever. But that's my whole take on it. Apparently they've resolved this since I'm late to the situation. They've since quote unquote resolved this. I don't know. This is just weird. I mean, didn't think this was gonna happen in 2023, but